I totally know the feeling. It happens sometimes. You describe it so well, the tennis ball in the mouth moment.
Yeah.
The couple things, I'll let you go. The thing about when you're talking about the credit and the Clash being almost as important. I'm sort of paraphrasing what you said, but when you talk about that, and then this record has this back to the box set, it has that great bonus live material. The choice of the stuff, I can understand you put the Peel on there because he's such a monumental figure. The Boston, that ends up on there because it's such a great example of you live. Why did you choose the performance from the Opera House?
Well, it's one of the best performances that we managed to capture, but it was also one of the best recordings that was made as well. So that, especially with live songs, sometimes you might have a really great recording or a great version of a song, but the recording quality might not be up there. It depends, it can be very hit and miss. But that one, we'd known that for a while, actually. We've been aware of that show. We always knew that caught the band at a particularly good moment. We were enthusiastic, and the recording quality was great. And the crowd, Boston had always been a really effusive town for us. We'd always gone down good there. It reminded us in some ways of English crowds or Irish crowds.
Totally. And is that a WBCM broadcast too?
I'm not sure. It may well be. I don't know, to be honest.
Remember that. They had to be very supportive. I remember I worked there for a long time, and they loved your stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All those dudes.
Yes, they did indeed. That's right.
They were really supportive.
Yeah, we always like Boston crowds.
Oh, they're hot. They're loud. They're kind of like a Philly crowd. How about the John Peel? Any memories that stick out? What was he? Was he a character? Was anything that you think when you hear his name you go, wow?
He was really. The big up their break from John Peel. We had a show at Aston University, and we were the opening act, really, and the John Peel Disco Roadshow was the headline act. And so we did our set, I think about 45 minutes, and John Peel came on before we got off stage and kind of stopped us and said that he thought we were the best band he'd ever heard since the Undertones, the best band in the world except for the Undertones, and that he was embarrassed that he was being paid, I think, £300, $500 at the time, and we were being paid £100, $150 between five of us, and all he was doing was spinning some records, and so he said he wanted us exchange checks for the night and ask us to come back on and do the set again in an hour. We were mind blown. Everybody was in the audience as well. Everybody just sort of stood there.
What a story.
And so we did, and we came back on and did the set, and it went down great, and then we invited to take him for a curry, which is the Birmingham way of, it's sort of like blood brothers. You invite somebody for a curry, you're
bonding. That's a bonding moment.
A bonding thing. So we did. We took him to our favourite curry house, and all our friends were shocked, looking in awe. We were acting like all casual, like, oh yeah, we have curry with John Peel all the time, and we having great fun though and chatting. And then a drunk driver, came careening around the corner and smashed straight into our van. and that, it was like, whoa, there goes the £300. And we kind of laughed about it, but it's like, oh, this is a drag. And John Peel, I think, like in some ways to make it up on the spur of the moment, said, you have to come down to London and do a session. Would you do it? Would you do it? And we're like, yeah, if the band works. And so it wasn't very long afterwards that we did that session that's on the box set. And he had a particular liking for a young guy who just got a job at Arista. And his name, Simon, his job, one of his jobs was as a runner between the Arista building and Radio 1 or BBC buildings, taking records over to particular DJs. And But not really trying to encourage them like the radio promotion people do, but more as a service, So he was just running the records and meeting the people and getting to know his way around the business. And John Peel rather liked him. So he did the session, and John Peel gave Simon a cassette of the session and said, here, you should take this to the record company because you're a good kid, and you should tell them you should sign this lot, and you'll probably get yourself a job as an A&R. And he did. And Simon Pott became very famous in the music industry, and is now even more famous for having one of the most wonderful guest houses on the North Shore of Hawaii.
What's his first name? What's his full name again? Say it again.
Potts, Simon Potts. And he ended up being our A&R guy throughout, particularly on the third album when his partner, Marquin Gotch, had left. But he was one of our two A&R guys on the first couple of records.
That's brilliant. That is so cool. And the connection to everything. It is such a tiny world. As I wrap it up with your final question, you mentioned there's this general public best of that's going to be coming our way too. What can you tell us about that? Just
starting to get into it now. Another Shout Factory epic. Should be a little bit easier because it's only me and Roger, so I have to get through everything. We'll see about that. The Beat record, Beat collection, it took the guys in the band longer over the liner notes and the photographs. That took a lot longer to approve than the music. It's quite weird. What becomes important after 30 years? I hate that shirt you're wearing. It's like, well, we'll invent a time machine, I don't know. What can we do? So, but I think it will be quite good. They're going to bring out the two original albums with some extra bonus tracks, and then a greatest hits kind of box. It's more, I think, going to be as a sampler to people who might only know one or two tracks and not know the others. And it'll include tracks from the third album in the 90s too, with I'll Take You There. Might you do any kind of thing? You guys, is there any potential of anything happening, you and Roger? I tried to organise some stuff, but it hasn't happened yet, so I'm not sure whether it will, to be honest.
I hear you.
It's... he has a group in Birmingham, England. I've got a group here in Los Angeles. If we're to get together to work, which group's working and which group's got the week off. And from the times we've tried it in the past, just that 6,000 miles makes it very difficult to coordinate rehearsals or get anything going unless you were to just stay working all year, So we've talked about it, and I was trying very hard to see whether we could get shows, a tour together for April to promote the release of the general public stuff. But the costs inherent of what they need, they say, to bring their organisation over, that makes it more than I could come up with the promoters, We got close. I thought it should have been doable, actually, but I think sometimes people who haven't toured in America for a while, maybe they're remembering the 80s and they think it's like just a pot of gold, but of course, we all know, having lived here, that the recession affected the music industry as well, and you have to work very hard, and
That's right.
You can get paid well and get paid fairly, but the opportunities for just naming your price or getting overpaid and nobody wanting it back afterwards are sadly long gone.
My brother, we need you back out here. I'm throwing you a high five and a hug. We need to kick back, have some dinner.
We certainly do, man. We certainly do. It's just the most gorgeous place to be and the most gorgeous place to do shows. I love it. So I've got to start spending a bit more time in my career that way, I think.
I want you to, man. Let's get you back out. We'll have you come by the studio. We'll tell some stories. We'll raise some funds. We'll do good stuff. So just
that would be great. Yeah, let's do some fundraising. Nice one, man. Thanks so much for talking. It was really nice, as always.
You're the king, B. I give you a hug. You stay safe. Thanks again. I mean, anytime you need anything, you reach out. And if there's any help I can do to help get a gig together out here, seriously, do not hesitate, man.
Oh, that's brilliant. brilliant. Thank you very much. Well, yes, I'd like to come. I think maybe March or April I would love to. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll try and see what sort of time frame we're looking at and let you know well in advance and see if you come up with any suggestions.
Anything I could do, seriously, Dave. I mean, always, brother. And I mean it. It was great hearing. When I heard your voice on NPR, I said, I got to give him some extra love out here, you know.
Great, man. Thank you. Hey, well, thank you, brother, man.
You got it, Dave. Be safe, bro.
Yes, sir.
Aloha.